Welcome back to Sampstra Games, the place to find new strategy games, and welcome to my guide on Chaos Galaxy 2. Today we're going to talk about planets and their buildings. So if you click on a building, you typically start off with seeing the surface area here. And there are two types of buildings that you can build on a planet: that's surface buildings and defense buildings. And here you can see any buildings that you've already built. Here in the overview, you can see your total HQ level. This will determine the upper limit of planetary defense. So this here is the upper limit of the planetary defense. This bar is representing that. And then the actual planetary defense that you have on this. This is important because when you take over an enemy planet, they have some of that planetary defense there, and you need to get it down in order to take control of the planet by either using bombing or sending your troops down. So you click here on capture, and then you can either do assault or bombing, and this will lower the defense of the enemy. So for example, the bombing is typically stronger. The problem is that it will actually hurt the buildings that are there. Assault doesn't hurt the buildings, so it will typically do a lot less. For assault, you're using your troops, and for bombings, you're using your ships or your fleet. So we're going to do some bombing, and this will lower them down. Now once you take over it, you don't have to worry about the defense increasing. Now, in order to increase your total and normal planetary defense, all you have to do is increase your HQ. So for example, if you look over here, my HQ is level 1, so the defense is 300. But if I look over here, and my HQ level is 2, so now it's 600. And if I had enough points, I could again upgrade it to be able to give it 600. Next we have resistance. This is the resistance of the planetary resistance. So every time most of the buildings that you build will increase your resistance. If the resistance gets too high, they will get a rebellion and you will have to take over the planet again. Ship productivity and arms is very important in order to be able to recruit a unit. So if there is a 0 here, you won't be able to recruit any unit. Which units you can recruit depends on your research. It doesn't matter on the planet, but if you do want to recruit something, you need to have the productivity for that. And then total value is the total development value of the buildings on the planet. Next, we have income. So this is obviously how much money you get, supplies, how much supplies you get, research, alien research, and then labor, which is used for upgrading or removing buildings. Oh, it's important that you do need it to remove buildings as well. So what are some buildings that you can build? Well, we click first here on the B, and here are all the buildings that you can build for the surface buildings. So firstly, you can get mining. This will give you monthly supplies. Farms are typically cheaper. They're not always this cheaper. On this planet they seem to cost a third, but typically they cost like 700 as opposed to mining, which costs 950. It depends on some of the other upgrades and the type of a planet, how cheap the farm is. The farm gives you labor point and monthly supplies, 150 versus the mining area with this gives you 220. I find farms, you have to at least one farm per planet, because this will allow you to upgrade other buildings, and you don't typically have that many slots on a planet, so you always want to make sure that you upgrade. If you can upgrade your farm just once, which will typically takes about 3 turns, but because it only takes like 50 to upgrade a farm. I'll show you that in a moment. So let's actually build it and show it off. So here, if you click on this farm, it costs 50 to upgrade. So after 3 turns, you can upgrade the farm, and then it will give you just as much as the mine. The only problem is it will increase your resistance by 2 per turn instead of by 1. So other things you can build is a hive city. This gives you a gold income. So this essentially pays for itself after 6 turns. A tip I like to use is on the first turn you want to wait a turn, and then you want to discover what you need, supplies or money, and then you want to build appropriately whatever this is. It's not too difficult, I find, to have enough money in this game. The more problem is with the supplies, because you always want to have a bigger army, so you need to get more supplies. So that's why you need to focus on building a lot of farms and mining areas. Leisure complex lowers your monthly resistance. So typically you want to have one of these and then keep upgrading it so it sort of is on par with the monthly resistance that you're increasing. Research Center allows you to gain research. This is very important because you start with 1,000 research, both alien and regular, but you do not gain any. So if you don't build a research center early, you will find yourself maybe 10, 12 turns in the game suddenly unable to do any research because you don't have research points. So keep that in mind. You don't have to do it in the beginning. I would say focus first on getting at least break even on supplies and money, and then maybe turn 6, 7, you want to build that research so that you can start things going. Same thing for the alien laboratory. And finally, Imperial Office. This gives you monthly labor and lowers resistance. And this is a planetary unique building, so there are different planetary unique buildings. For example, I have this here at level 2, which lowers my resistance by 4. That's quite a bit and gives me a lot of labor. Every time you have enough points to upgrade something, it will be blinking here like this. So you can click on it to upgrade it or remove it if you want to build something else within that slot. Next, let's jump to defense buildings. So at the beginning you have 2 types of defense. You have Surface Fortress, which gives you assault resist plus 20, and Defense Laser, which gives you bombing resist plus 20. So this will affect how much the bombing or the assault damage that we looked at previously do to your planet. So next, let's jump to orbit. So every building in the orbit will actually be seen once you're fighting over this planet. It will actually be there, which I think is super cool. And I will show that to you right after we go through what you can build. And they have certain effects in the combat, so it's quite important what you build here. So first, the shipyard. This allows you to recover ship power during the planetary battle, and it also gives you the ship productivity. So ship productivity and the arms productivity is, like I said at the beginning, is important to be able to recruit some new units. So because each unit has a certain limit of or cost of ship productivity or arms productivity, and that sort of limits how many units you can recruit per turn. So shipyard allows from the ship productivity, also recovers ship power. Arms factory recovers arms power, and civil port recovers unit energy. So these are the battle buildings. Defense building, you currently have a battle satellite. The battle satellite is really cool because it can do a lot of damage to the enemy. It has sort of like a cannon attack, so in a sort of circular area around itself, but the big benefit of this is that you cannot do rear attacks on it. So let me now show you how it looks if you actually attack a planet. Alright, so assuming that you've built some of the defenses, let me just show you how this looks. So this is some enemy planet I've attacked, and here they have civil port. So this is the thing that recovers energy 30% per turn. This is arm factory, which recovers power 30% per turn, and finally battle satellites, which hit enemies, and any attack is considered a frontal assault, so you can hit them from the rear. I also have a separate guide on combat that you can check out if you're curious about that. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this guide. If you did, write down in the comments, and you can click on the right to watch my combat guide and to also watch my Let's Play. That's it. Alright, I'll see you there. Bye bye!